Well, iconic podcast community, I have someone that I have highly anticipated not only introducing you to, and I'm sure many of you know her already, but really having a genuine conversation with a woman who is so purposeful, inspiring, and really contributing to the world. And in the world we live in, when you find someone who is doing those things actively, it's such an attractive thing for me. So I'd love you to help me welcome Kylie, who you now know is our cover on the spring issue. But Kylie is the founder and the face of 50 and Fearless. So, Kylie, thank you so much for being on the magazine. Thank you so much for being here. I am delighted to be in company with you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a beautiful, beautiful intro. And I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited and completely honored to be on the front cover as well.
You're our easy breezy, beautiful cover girl right now. And you and I have spoken, but I do want to kind of give context to the people listening in. This was very intentional for me. And I was seeking a leader with compassion and with heart and with spirit, but also a bit of the someone willing to say the hard things, someone willing to kind of mess the lady's hair up a little bit. And when I had found you, I was instantly attracted because I can tell that you are so sincere in what you're doing and teaching women that it is not too late. And so thank you, first of all, for that message. And thank you for what you're doing online.
Thank you so much. It's a powerful message and definitely one I'm incredibly passionate about because I think there's so many people that have this idea that we hit our 50s or our 60s or even our mid 40s and that's it. What I've found and I talk a lot about is actually the shift that happens is a hormonal shift and it's scientifically proven. I talk about stepping into your no fucks era, but I think it's so damn powerful because what it does, it shifts you and your energy as a female into this not worrying so much about everyone's opinions, not worrying so much about what everyone thinks. And I think all those things that have been holding you back for so long as women, I think we do hold ourselves back a lot. My message, I think, started for many different reasons, but also there's so much negativity spoken around menopause. And I think
Yes.
it's brilliant that we're talking about it. And I absolutely love that we're shining the light on it. But I think we're talking in a negative way instead of the positive. And the positive way is that you do step into that power, you do feel that energy shift. And how do you harness that power and do something really positive with it?
I agree. And I feel like it's a fork in the road for many women. Forgive me if I'm going to ruffle feathers here, but I just feel like a lot of women choose to coast. It's like that kind of identity of it's too late and I'm halfway through. I might as well just do the things and coast to retirement. And to me, that choice just like breaks my heart because there's so much life left. There's so much wisdom and experience and dreams and knowledge and intellect and beauty that is still to come through someone, but to choose to coast is like, oh, why?
Breaks me. And it's funny you say that because I just spoke to someone yesterday and I hear a lot. I'm starting over. I'm starting over. I've gone through a divorce. I have been retrenched from my job. I'm an empty nester. I'm starting over. And I always say, oh my goodness, you are not starting over. You are stepping into the most amazing space. You have all this wisdom. You're not in your 20s anymore. You're not learning. You're not trying to find what lights you up, what excites you. You know all of that stuff. You've been through the hard. You've been through the tough times. You are actually starting at the most incredible space with all of that knowledge you have and what I call the power that's burning inside you from that hormonal shift. And you're stepping into something that is so exciting. I speak to a lot of women about you're on the edge of something so beautiful now. And you have that choice to your beautiful words is do you coast or do you take that leap? And I love that the women I talk to now are going, oh my God, yes, I feel that I'm taking that leap. A lady I spoke to yesterday is at the moment traveling all through Thailand solo, not left her family, but has just said to her family, I'm out of here for 4 weeks. I need to do this for me. And those stories and messages that I get all the time light me up like you won't believe. It's just so beautiful to see. So that's why I say we're not starting over. We're not coasting. We are actually stepping into the most powerful era that I think we've had. Like, I don't know what for myself, the 60s and 70s are like, but I tell you what, the 50s are so damn powerful.
I'm looking forward to it because I
Yeah.
do feel ageism has had such a negative connotation too, right? We've put these boxes and boundaries around women and age. And I just think we are really removing so much of that now. But there's a huge responsibility that comes with that. I mean, we can't ask for freedoms from these narratives that are expired and not do something about it. Like we have to step into the opportunity and the responsibility of what we're asking for. And that's not easy.
I totally agree with you. And I have to be very careful too in what I do, not to say too much. Do you know what I mean? I got to be careful not to say, yes, go on the tour, do all these things, because you're right, it can be quite scary. And I think the scariest thing for a lot of people, and definitely the women that I speak to, is the judgment of others. So they're so worried about what their family are going to think, their friends are going to think. But at the same time, they're feeling that power shift of, I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. This is my life. And a lot of them have sacrificed a lot for everyone else. And now is their time to go, I've been the great mum, I've been the great wife and the great daughter and all those things. And I've done everything everyone wanted of me. But now this is my time. And this is my time to step into what I want to do and what lights me up.
Yeah. Go, go, go. Know what else you said that I find really interesting? Because I share this philosophy as well as people say I'm starting over, whether they're making a pivot in their career, making a pivot in their relationship. And I always reflect back to them, similar to what you were saying, is you're never starting over because it's not like you go down to the ground zero again. You're building and stacking upon all the experiences you've walked through. So that idea of like, oh my gosh, I got to start all over again. No,
Mhm.
you're just
Totally.
building the next floor on the enterprise of life. Like you're going higher, you're building your skyrise. So I love that
Yeah.
you brought that up because I think that's an important point.
That's where 15 Fearless started. I hit absolute rock bottom. In my head, I was starting over. And what I discovered was it was far from starting over. If anything, it stripped everything back that I thought I was meant to be and who I thought I was, and found the real me, which was a beautiful process to go through as well. So, to give you some background on 15 Fearless, I lost both my parents within a year. I was retrenched from my job. I moved states to be closer to my parents. And I have to joke about it in these days. Clearly, they didn't want me to move closer to them because they both left me.
It's not funny,
I
funny. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know it's not funny, but I kind of joke with to get myself
Yeah.
through. So my world that I'd created and 30 years in marketing, that was my identity. I was very good at my job. The last thing I expected was to lose my job. And I think there was a lot of ageism that came into that. And that's a whole nother topic that we could go down. But I did hit rock bottom and I felt my entire identity just disappeared within a year. I had to try and rebuild. And first of all, I had to get out of bed every day and I was struggling to do that. So then it was, what can I do? I'm always been creative. So I literally opened Instagram one night and started a thing called 15 Fearless for myself. It was literally for me to help be creative because I knew if I tapped into my creativity, that would help for my mental space and the really sad space that I was in. And I just started posting. The women started responding, and within weeks this started growing and growing and growing, and all these women were saying to me, I feel heard, I feel seen, I understand what you're saying. I think because I was being so honest and raw and true, because everything else had been stripped away from me, and I was probably the most vulnerable and honest about what I wanted ever in my life. So
Mm.
that's actually, as much as it felt like it was starting over, it was so the opposite of starting over. I was actually being my true self. And that authenticity of me and what lights me up and who I am as a person clearly really resonated with a lot of people. And hence it grew the way it grew.
Yeah. And I mean, let's not skip over the way it grew. Even since I've known you, you've grown a couple 100,000 since we've been in discussions. And so I do want to stop there for a second because I think there's something important that you can teach, maybe a little bit of a skip over from 50 and Fearless and more into a business perspective. But I would love to know, what do you equivalent? What were the ingredients? You talked about vulnerability and you talked about connection, but what do you sort of, when you look back, go, the growth really happened because of what? What do you pinpoint?
Well, if I'm really honest, first of all, I was faceless for 8 months because
Oh,
I was so scared of showing what I was doing and the judgment and what is everyone going to think. And it was really funny. I had a lot of friends and family following me, having no idea it was me. And I even had one friend said, "Oh my goodness, you've got to follow this thing. It'll be great for you." And I went, "Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I'll follow it." And didn't say a word because I wasn't ready to probably come out. I still hadn't gone through the healing process that I needed to do that. I went, "Yes, I'm ready." So when I did what I called my coming out video and went, "Hi, this is me," my phone blew up. It was brilliant. All my friends are like, "I can't believe this is you. This is amazing." So I think to answer your question, look, I was a little bit scared, but I think I was being so true to what I wanted the message to get out there because I wasn't showing my face. I was hiding, but it allowed me to really express myself. And I admit that when I went on camera at first, it was really scary for me. But then what I felt because of that honesty and rawness and telling my story, how it started, and the vulnerability that I'd never shown before. I was a really strong corporate woman that was structured and I didn't show that side of myself. So I think that really connected with people. And I think as well, creatively, in all the roles I've had, I always had high opinions on what should be happening. And, you get to a CEO level and they disagree with you. And all of a sudden it was like, I am my own CEO here. I can do whatever I want. And I've
mhm.
always said, build your community first. Your first thing is build your community to every company that I've worked with. And I'm going to be probably a little controversial. I think a lot of the companies I've worked for have been very male led. So they didn't understand that community connection. And
Right.
they always thought I was a little crazy, I've got to admit. But what I discovered with 15 Fearless is that's what people want, well, especially women. They wanted the community. They wanted to feel heard and seen and understood. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, from a business perspective, where it really connected and my vulnerability, being honest and my
Yeah.
story and the connection. And it's funny because a friend of mine I was talking to the other day and she said, "You're in an interesting situation because you never started to build a brand or a business." And I didn't. That's not what I started to do at all. I now have a brand which I'm working for, as in moving into a business, but I've started in a completely different way. I started out of a very raw, vulnerable space, but I think that's what's connected with people and that's why it has grown the way it's grown.
I would just love to honor you in that because so many people start with the get mentality. How can I get people to buy my products? How can I get new followers? Get. And so there is an energy. It's felt. I really do believe it's felt. And it can work and have a little bit of like that hype. I call it like a hockey stick moment. A lot of people do sort of look at that and get attracted initially, but then there's not a lot of substance behind it. But I also am just so in awe that you started really for yourself to just be vulnerable and share. And what you noticed was other women were feeling the way you were feeling, and community started to grow. And naturally, you're going to have a result. Naturally, something is being built. But I'm just so grateful to hear someone say, but I didn't start it with that in mind. I started for like the purest of reasons. And that's, I believe, what probably was what was felt, right? The vulnerability plus
Yes.
the purity of what you were doing.
Yes, even though I wasn't showing my face for 8 months, I think it was so raw what I was saying in my posts, the quotes that I was posting or creating myself, it came from a very broken place. I think that was where, yeah, to your point, that's what people connected with. And it grew very, very quickly because they connected with that energy. And I totally agree with you. It is an energetic thing. And I've got to be really careful now. And I know that I don't step too back into that corporate girl because that's
I
not what
imagine.
people, but it's so easy for me to go there because I'm like, oh, that's just what I'm used to. But actually, that's not what people have connected with me about. They wanted the girl that was really honest and raw, and I'm always honest and raw now, but I sometimes slip into corporate mode, like, look at me now, I've gone in, my black corporate.
Yeah,
So
but you know what? Because you're aware of it, I assume it will always be this nice balance and harmony for you. Because if you're not aware of it, then you can't course correct. But the
yes,
fact that you're like, I know this is what grew it, I will not
yes,
move away from the roots of what I built here. But at the same time, there are some, like you have merch now and you have a shop my and you have a podcast and all of these things that are just serving the community that you built. Like they want that. I see all the pictures of, oh, what does it say, in my fuck era or in
I
my
mean,
no
my no
fucks
fuck
era?
Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, the hats. And I just think, wow, Kylie, like, look what you did. Like, they're traveling and living their best lives and doing things they never would have maybe given themselves permission to do because of your message. And they're wearing the hat and taking pictures and tagging you. Like, if
Yes.
that's not impact, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And look, the caps just blow my mind because that was one of those crazy thoughts because I started saying it and my friends were like, oh my God, I love that saying. And then I see where we ship them to. They literally go all over the world. Like the other day, there was Iceland, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is insane. Like those caps would be in every single corner of the world. Like that blows my mind. But then it just lights me up so much that the impact that I'm having on these women I can't even put into words actually, because I just find it so beautiful. And the messages I get, at first, I'm going to admit I was a bit overwhelmed with the number of messages from women because it felt like a big responsibility. That did scare me a little bit. And I'm like, oh, wow. I started from a place of, like I just said, this was my broken space. And I love that I'm inspiring you. I've said to a few people, I'm not a counselor. I don't know what to say to you. And they've gone, I just want your opinion as a friend. Now, I don't
Mm.
know these people, but that really touches me. And I go, okay, I can do that as your friend. I get that a lot from women. It's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful that women are now seeing themselves at this age and seeing the potential they have and knowing that this is not stop in any way. Or I love that you say coasting into it. It's not that. We are stepping into, as I say, one of the most powerful eras you will ever feel. And now it's about you. What do you want? What lights you up? I find that absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. And I'm so happy for them. And I'm so happy for the world that we are having these conversations. Women are putting their stake in the ground,
Yeah.
straightening their spines, opening their eyes, opening their hearts, and declaring what we want. Kind of going back in the conversation, I have a lot of women actually in their 50s that I work with. And it's very common for them to feel like they're a little bit irrelevant in the online space. They're looking at young 20-year-olds who do great pose and everything's aesthetically pleasing and they don't have that knack or that creative flair. And I always say to them, listen, they get to be your source of inspiration. You can hire that out. What they can't do, they cannot hire out wisdom, experience, knowledge, and like what you hold. Only life gives you that. Only time
So
gives
true.
you that. You are to the advantage. They don't
Totally.
have the advantage, you do. And it's not to put down 20-year-olds because thank you so much. You always keep me on my feet and show me what's possible. And it's wonderful inspiration. But I've really learned to realize I don't crave to be that. I love to learn through that and now infuse that life wisdom that I have and double down.
Yeah, 100%. And I know you've been on there for a while, but I have just discovered I'm a bit late to it, Substack. And that's what
Yes.
I'm loving about Substack is that we can now have conversations and express ourselves and not have to worry about the photos, not have to worry about all that stuff that
Yeah.
Instagram brings women. And I think it's such a beautiful platform, especially for women at this age or 40s, 50s, 60s, because we don't have to worry about all that, but we can
Mhm.
express ourselves and have really deep, true conversations, and I just think it's a beautiful platform for that.
It sure is, and I hope it never loses that. I have a little
Yes.
underlying fear, when something becomes popular, it can lose that initial feeling because it's almost like the artists, the creatives, the musicians, the tastemakers are hanging out over there, the ones that really value depth and meaning, like you just said. And
Yeah.
so it's like, come over, but like, let's make sure we protect the feeling and the ability, like you said, to be fully expressed over here without feeling like it needs to be curated so much. It's just a great way to create conversation.
It is. It's amazing. And for me, I'm loving it because so many women share their stories with me. And now I want to share those stories as well because I think they're so inspirational to everyone out there. So I think
Mhm.
that's why it's such a beautiful platform. And I know that women that I speak to do, to your point, get really nervous about putting themselves out there on camera, on Instagram. Anyone that says to me, how do you do it? I'm like, you've just got to turn the camera on.
You
Just
do.
turn it on. And I admit, I still get really nervous with it.
Me
I still
too. I
like
don't love video.
no.
If I didn't ever have to do a video again, I'd be so happy. But I also know that's how people connect with us. They see our face, they see our emotion, they feel us in a more genuine way through the screen. So I understand it, but I'm with you, Kylie. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, every time I've got to coach myself
Yeah,
to
I know.
get the
Let's do
guts
this.
to
Turn
do
the
it.
camera on. The other day, I swim every day. I have to swim in the ocean. It's my therapy.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
I posted the other day, I just got out of the ocean. My DMs blew up. Oh my God, I love that you posted just straight out of the ocean. I love that, no makeup, no filter, no nothing. And I'm like, I did not look good at all. And I was scared about posting it, but it's like, this is me. This is my life. These are my wrinkles. These are my freckles. And that's what people relate a lot more to. And that's what people want to see.
I agree because women in general, we feel like we have to perfect things first before we go full steam ahead. So, in that waiting of finding that perfect moment or a perfect post or a perfect picture, we let opportunity pass us by. We're delaying fulfillment and pleasure and all the things that are meant for us. But I actually want to speak to that a little bit because I imagine you have such beautiful, well, I know you have great advice. I read it, but some of the people listening in right now, even talk about the woman going to Thailand and doing a solo trip, like her eat, pray, love moment. I know so many women who I am sure right now are like, I would love to do that, but here come the list. But I would feel guilty, but I don't know if I can leave my kids, but what would my husband say? But I don't know if I could spend that money on myself, but. We can come up with all these reasons why not. What would you say to her? Maybe it's not a trip, maybe it is a career pivot or something in her life. What would you say to her right now?
Okay, this may sound really heavy and harsh, but this is what I learned from my parents passing, which was sudden, but you could be gone tomorrow
Mhm.
and you will never do that. I always have my mum and dad on each of my shoulders. I hear that every day. And I know that's heavy, but I think that's first and foremost, we have one life to live. As women, we spend too much time pleasing everyone else but ourselves. And
Mm,
then you get to the end of the journey and go, but I wish I did all those things. So I think when you put that perspective in, and then when it comes to family and friends, I mean, I get it all the time. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get a proper job.
mm,
Go back and get a corporate job. But what I say to them, this brings me so much joy. And I would say to those women, I would say to their families, but this is about me now. And I
mhm,
need to do this for me. It's not about anyone else. It's no reflection on anyone within this family or friends or anyone else. This is about me. And this is about me doing what brings me joy. And
mhm,
then what they'll see, because a lady in Thailand just went for a week and came back, and her family all went, whoa, wow, you look different. You look alive. She said that. She said her entire family just went, you look amazing. You look so happy. Her energy had shifted, that radiated onto a family that were not in a great place as a family. They then said to her, why don't you go back and spend another month or two, whatever you want? So she then went back, and she went back and then traveled for a month and did everything she wanted to do. So I think, first of all, you've got one life, you've got to do what you want to do. And secondly, I think for women that are finding it maybe too big a leap, just do a small leap. So
mm,
she just went to Thailand for a week and then she came back. The family saw the shift in her. And we all know all your loved ones want nothing more than to see you happy.
yeah.
But sometimes they don't know what you need to make you happy. Only you know that. And that's why
Mm,
you've got to take that first step to find your own happiness, because everyone around you will benefit from that. I know from my personal experience, I'm a single mum of a 17-year-old boy now, and he's had to go through a lot with me over the last few years emotionally. He had his own grief losing his grandparents, but he sees me now in such a different light because he sees that I'm happy. He said to me the other day, Mum, you're not stressed like you used to be. Because I said to him, I used to love our drives to school every morning. We'd chat. And he go, no, he didn't. You were always stressed about work. And I was like, oh, ouch, that hurt.
wow.
Just he
Perception.
was yeah, amazing, and he now sees the shift in me, and he's getting so much out of that as well, and he's seeing at a very young age when you do something that lights you up and brings you joy. He's going into his final year of school, and he's really thinking about what he wants to do now because of what I'm doing in this current space. So I think for women as well, as mothers especially, the impact that you're going to have on your children when you are doing what you love and what you want out of life is incredibly profound. And I
It
think
re
on marriages as well, I'm hearing this from women. They think their husbands don't want them to go and do something. They're going and doing it, and their whole relationship is changing because they're happy within themselves.
within themselves. That's it. We're
Yeah.
not looking outside of ourselves for someone to make us happy or to fill that void when we don't know what that void is. I do something too, and I get a lot of DMs over this. I used to do it every quarter. I got out of the habit. I'm back in it for 2026. But once a quarter, I would go to a beautiful hotel for 2 nights, not one night, 2 nights, because I found the first night was just kind of unwinding. And I order room service. I put on the plush robe. I walk around the city. I enjoy a meal. Like I just literally romance myself and I get a lot of things done too. And my best ideas come through that. And inevitably, someone will come in my DMs and go, but how do you do that? Like, does your husband get upset? Or like, how do you leave your kids? Or, oh, I could never spend that money on me. I will be honest, it's never easy for me to do it. It's like a workout. I never really want to go. I'm always like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. And I can
Yes.
find all these reasons why not. But I know who I am on the other side of those couple of days. And so does my family, so much so that my husband will sometimes say to me, hey, I think it's time for a solo trip for you. Like, I can sense you need that because he knows it's not a threat to our relationship. It's actually an enhancement to our relationship because I get the space that I need. And as women, we're so overstimulated and we're so committed to all the people we love that when is it about us?
100%. And I love that. It's so funny. I told myself I'm going to do that this year. Every quarter,
Do
just
it.
take myself away. There's a
Do
thing
it.
in Australia now, tiny houses everywhere on like big plots of land. I'm like, oh, how beautiful.
Do
But
it.
I think I'm liking the sound of your lush hotel a bit more than my country tiny
Well, I don't know.
houses.
You could have a little bit of both.
Do both. I 100% agree. I think that would be my biggest piece of advice to women. Just take some time out by yourself. And it doesn't have to be straight up a 4-week trip in Thailand or wherever you want to go. I think your idea of just the weekend and you come back to yourself. And this
Yes.
is, I think, the power also of as we get older. I talk about coming home to yourself a lot. And I go into the science of hormones. It is about that as well. The hormonal shift is all about coming home to yourself. And I read an article yesterday about what Japanese women, I think they call it koniki, and it's all about returning to yourself, returning to then the wisdom that you've got. That's a lot more elegant than what I say about, Bugsira. It's a lot more elegant. The Japanese say it a lot nicer than us
They are
Australians.
very elegant.
They're
Yes.
very elegant, but
Mm.
it's so true. I think there's probably a lot of women listening to this that need to take that time out for themselves to reconnect with themselves and come home to themselves and decide what they want in this next
Yes.
chapter. And the benefit to everyone around you, and to your point, your husband and your family notice it. I know my son's absolutely noticed it within me. I just think there's so much power in it. And that would be my thing as well. Take a weekend off, just a
Yeah.
weekend. Start with the weekend and see where it takes you. And also from a business perspective, I had this lady speaking to me the other day and she had an idea and she said, my family's going to laugh at me. I'm like, don't tell them at first. Just
Yes.
start. Just
Yes. I
start.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, I did 8 months with no one knowing what I was doing. When I came out, though, it was like my family were like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing." If I told them at the start what I was going to do, they would have said I had rocks in my head,
Yeah.
100%. So start quietly. No one needs to know. That's another big thing. Just quietly do what you want to do and don't make some big announcement about it. But your family and friends will see the shift in you and wonder what you're up to.
I really appreciate that advice. I wish more people, women specifically, but people would listen to that. I think we are looking for that validation and we're justifying our choices. And when you do that, you're also going to be met with people that don't agree and don't see eye to eye. And that can put water on your fire. So the way
Totally.
to,
Talk you out
right?
of it.
And another thing that's coming up for me that you're speaking to and you're alluding to is this whole idea that I think a lot of people feel like in order to make a shift in their life, they have to burn it down to start something new. And I talk often to my community. It's like, you don't have to burn anything. You might want to, but you don't have to burn something down to start something new. You can build simultaneously. You can allow the career that you feel is soul sucking to feed and fuel this other business you want to start. You can do things gradually. Would you agree with that?
100%. There's a lady that her last boy had just finished school. She had 4 boys, and she was very much like, "I don't know where to I'm like, "Just quietly start.
Yes.
Just quietly start doing your thing." And the burning down, 100%. My life burnt down. That is not what I would recommend to
No.
anyone
Right.
because it's really hard to start from there as well. It's really hard. And especially if you're trying to start a business, you're a lot better off doing that on the side because one of the biggest stresses is financial stresses when you're
Yes.
starting out. So if you're in a role or a job that allows you to do something on the side, do that and let it slowly build because when stress comes in, creativity dies. So if you take that financial stress away, your creativity and your ideas will flow and you can keep working on that, then that's when something beautiful starts. I don't recommend to anyone, 100% agree, don't burn it down. Don't burn it down, and there's no reason to do that. Well, unless there's totally burns down like it did in my life, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you don't wanna start it's taken me a long time to get over that, and, you'll never get over losing your parents, but it did give me a platform to start again, but it's not what I would recommend to anyone
No.
if
When you
you can
have the
avoid it.
choice, right? You didn't have the choice,
No.
and I'm so glad you have risen from those ashes and you're benefiting millions and millions of women globally. I have a question that just keeps burning for me here, speaking of burning. How many women easily betray themselves before they would ever even have the idea of betraying somebody else? So these small personal betrayals that we give to ourselves without secondary thought, but the idea of betraying somebody else, whether that's how they see us, the identity they have of us, we'd much rather betray ourselves than someone else. And I'm curious your take on that. Do you see that to be true as well?
Absolutely, and I love that. I love that idea and that question. I think we do. Like, you would never totally, you wouldn't betray someone else because I think women, we are people pleasers.
Yes.
Most women naturally are
Yes.
people pleasers, but we don't please ourselves. I always talk about we don't put the oxygen mask on first. We put the oxygen mask on everyone else around us. And I think that's so true. We do betray ourselves. The other day, I did a post about look after yourself like you're trying to keep someone alive. Like,
Yes.
we don't look after ourselves like we are the most important thing to keep alive. When we have babies, we give them everything, as you do as
Everything.
mothers,
Yes.
everything, because your responsibility is to keep that beautiful little human alive and going. But we
Mhm.
don't do the same for ourselves because we empty our cups. We do. And I think sadly, when you say burning it down, a lot of women start again when they are completely burnt out because they're emptying and emptying and emptying and they're not filling their cup. And if we
Mhm.
bring all your thoughts together, your weekend away fills your cup, you come back to your family, and then you're ready to give everything. And that's my thing. I wish women would put themselves first more, not in a selfish way. And you don't have to be selfish when you do it. And I talk a lot about that. This is not selfish. This is helping you first so you can help everyone around you. Because
Mhm.
if you don't put yourself first, you cannot show up the best version of yourself. And then you're not the best version of yourself for your family, your friends, your work, whatever it is. So the betrayal, we need to become a lot more selfish, but you do that with love, always.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
why don't we guard that for ourselves? Like, why do I quickly betray my own thoughts or my own opinion or my own ideas? Why do I do that so easily? But I would never easily do that to someone else. When you think about that, it really brings it to light, but it's not easy to deal with because we've not had any examples. Like, I think now is the first time in history that it has been the best time to be a woman. I think right now we are living in a breakthrough paradigm shift. We are the very first generation to have a stage, have a voice, have financial freedoms, liberation. We really are breaking a lot of things that needed to, well, they were already broken, but we're just kind of disassembling them.
Yeah,
And so it's also to me a responsibility for all the kids watching. If
correct.
I don't do this for myself because, oh, I feel guilty with my kids, I am literally perpetuating the very thing onto my kids. So I'm teaching my daughters that, you just suck it up and you do it because that's the right thing to do. Make sure everybody around you is happy and pleased. And, you're secondary. And I'm also teaching my sons that that's okay, which I
Yes.
don't want to do. And so I feel like if a woman listening in, if this is difficult for you to rationalize or wrap your mind around because you're so used to pleasing others, maybe it is through the lens of, I owe this to my children to show them what I desire for them. And I will model that, not because it's natural for me, but because that's what I want them to see. I wonder if that would give some women more permission too.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's a beautiful way of putting it. Like I said, my son is seeing a different version of me because
Yeah.
I'm doing something for myself. But just to go back a little, I completely agree that we are changing the way for women. But I think what we got to strip back a little bit, definitely for my age group, is we were sold a bit of a we can have it all. For my generation, it was you can have that career. You don't have to be at home. And I think so many women now are burnt out because we wanted to do everything brilliantly. And you can't. You can't be the perfect career woman, the perfect wife, the perfect mother at home, and perfect in the kitchen cooking. We burnt ourselves out. I think for the generation coming behind us, we are paving that way to go, you can do it all, but not by burning yourself out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I
you
do.
have to accept that you can't do everything perfectly and that having the career and the child does take a juggle. I just think for women, the women I'm speaking to as well, they're feeling really burnt out because they really were sold that they could have it all and they realized things had to give and they wish they'd done things a little bit differently. I do watch the next generation coming through, and I think this is where it's amazing. These women are finding so many opportunities online. They're building their own businesses online. They're giving themselves freedom. They are not having to juggle the 9 to 5. And I think that's incredible to watch everyone finding this space now. That would be my only thing. I think, yes, we're paving a way, but we didn't have to burn ourselves out the way we all did it.
Yeah, I agree. And to add on to that, I've been thinking a lot about this actually. So this is a really great conversation. I feel like we didn't know any better. So I give lots of grace to everybody.
100%,
We just don't
100%.
know. We're the first ones to do this. So we're going to make lots of mistakes. But
And
I
we
do
wanted to
think
break that wall. We
we
wanted to break it
did.
down, and we did. We
And we
smashed
did.
it.
We
Yeah.
smashed it. But afterwards, we're kind of fumbling forward. But I don't think we did a good job of helping men rise to the occasion with us. So, what I mean by that is, I do think as a mom of four, two businesses, I can do all of that. But what I didn't do is have, and that's not his fault, it's men were not raised to rise to the occasion of the occasion women were rising to. So men just kept doing their thing, going to their job. I work, I come home, I eat a meal, and everything's looked after. I feel like that's the disconnect, is how do we modernize the roles within a family and have men rise up now too? Because I think a lot of our burnout would be prevented if we had a man come home from work and knew we worked as hard as he did and he picked up the dishes and said, "Hey, I'm going to put the kids in the bath. You go do your." Like, I feel like there needs to be more partnership. And I think that's why a lot of relationships are rocky right now, because we're not feeling the partnership simply because we haven't done a great job of vocalizing this to men. We haven't done a great job of empowering them. And also, they haven't done a great job either, if I'm being honest. They need some responsibility too. I do feel like that's a big chunk because I do think we could
100%
do it
agree.
if we had more support.
Yeah, I 100% agree. From the conversations that I have definitely with my friends, because I've been by myself with my son the entire time. And I remember friends, every time we catch up for dinner, they're so stressed about their husbands and he didn't. And they used to go, I don't know how you do it alone. I'm like, oh, it's a lot easier because I'm not having those conversations. So
I think there might be something to that.
oh,
Um,
no, it's a lot easier. But I think then as mothers of sons, that's our responsibility as well. We are teaching now this next generation. And I know with my own son, he knows, well, from 15, he knew how to cook and clean and put a load of washing on and
yes.
help out. And I think that's our responsibility raising sons as well.
Yes,
And
it is.
it's a partnership. This isn't your role, my role. We're partners in this. And I completely agree with you. I think we can have it all, but we need that balance as
We
well. We
do.
need partnership. You need a partner.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because it's almost like we went from I'm a housewife, because that was the popular thing, into
That
now
was
I'm a
my
career.
mum. Yeah.
Yeah. Into now I was just talking to my mom about this, and she goes, my generation was okay, you're supposed to be a housewife, but now you're supposed to be a career woman. But we just did both. Like I was a housewife and a career woman because we were straddling these two worlds. And I think we're the first ones to kind of put our heads up and go, hold on a second. We're not supposed to be all of that. We can do all of the components, but not alone. It takes a village to raise a child. And when we look back at way centuries ago, it was a village that helped one another do the things that were meant to be done. And we've lost that probably because of the online space and how insular it is these days, but also because we're just in that learning mode. We're, like I say, flopping forward a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so true though. But, if I look at my mum, she was amazing and she was at home. And then I think at first she was so loved that I went off and had a career. She was so proud of me. But then the sort of early 30s, late 20s hit. So when are you getting married? When are you getting married? When are you getting married? You're sacrificing, marriage for career. Like mum really struggled with it. I think, yeah, that's the point. We could have had it all if we had that person, well, that guy that knows that, help out.
Yeah, help out. Help out. And then that we
Yeah.
spoke our truth. Like, I'm overwhelmed today. I need you to pick up dinner. Like, we don't do that. I know for me, I'll speak to me. I'm not going to project that. I get in my martyrism of like, oh, I'm doing it all. I'll make dinner. I'll clean up. Like, it's that whole like thing. And it's not attractive. Like, I can almost like zoom
Yes.
out and see myself. I'm like, how is this working for you? This is miserable. Like, you're not happy. You're making your kids feel like you have resentments. You're moping around the house. Like, snap out of it. But I know, and my breath coach actually taught me this. She's like, when you are in those moments, you have to look at the opposite because why you feel that way is you're actually craving the opposite. Like why you get upset that your husband went out with the guys. Well, you're upset because you haven't gone out with the girls. Why are you upset that you're cooking dinner? Well, because you haven't taken time to look after yourself. You've prioritized. And that was a great lesson for me to realize I'm responsible for these feelings and how I'm projecting them, but it also has kept me very aware of like, what am I not doing right now that I got myself in these feelings and emotions?
I think that's a beautiful point that you brought up in so many levels. You are responsible for your
Yeah.
own emotions, your own journey, your own choices that you're making. You have to make the choices for yourself and being responsible for yourself on so many different levels, not just telling the husband to
Yeah.
cook the dinner and things like that. And I think, well, I know with the friends, the conversations I have with girlfriends and in my community, you just need to now, I think there's partners out that are probably not used to hearing, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take on a trip. So you've also got to bring them on that journey with you.
Yes.
You can't just drop a bomb and say, I'm off to Thailand for 4 weeks. See you later from someone that's never been married. I'm not going to give relationship advice here, but I do say you've got to now bring people on the journey that, yes, I am going to start putting myself forward. I am going to start doing what lights me up. And you're all going to benefit from that. Like you were saying, you do your breath work or you flip how you're thinking and you probably snap out of that and everyone in the house benefits from that. And I
Absolutely.
just think it's so important though that we think about that as we go along the journey as well, that we put
Mhm.
ourselves first, but also take people on the journey. Just don't drop the bomb,
Drop the
maybe.
bomb. Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of grace and understanding for sure. I remember I hired this famous football player to come speak at a women's event that I was hosting. And I knew the women in the room, so many of them were being held back by their spouses. They had big dreams. They wanted to go all in their business, but they were met with, you're always on your phone or you're always out, just constantly the nagging. And so they were just feeling like, oh, I don't want to disrupt my relationship in order to build this business. And so
Mm.
I asked him, I said, I want a male perspective. He gave the best answer. It stuck with me. This is like going back 18 years. He said, and this goes for whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, a parent, it doesn't matter. He said, you can respect someone's opinion, which means we listen, we hear someone out, we give them the benefit of the doubt. But he said, you don't have to accept
Oh, I
someone's
like that.
position. So respecting by listening and conversing back and forth, but that doesn't have to be something you accept as your truth. And I felt so empowered when he said that because what that taught me was I will always be someone that holds space and dialogues and has conversation with people when they have opposing opinions. But that doesn't mean I have to accept that as my truth or accept that in a way that dims down the things that I want to do and create in my lifetime.
100%. That's a beautiful way of putting it. I think I struggle a little bit with these conversations because I haven't been married. So friends of mine will say things and I'm like, but why does his opinion matter? Like, just go and do what makes you happy. And they're like, because we've been married for 30 years. I'm like, all right, okay.
Well, but you know what? I think also you are so immersed with women. You're listening. So, sure, the lived experience is going to give you a bit of another perspective, but I would challenge you back to say, you know, because you're listening, you're holding conversations, you are holding space for women. So, you know what's going on. And you have such a beautiful, beautiful character. You hold such beautiful values. I would trust yourself more in those
Oh,
conversations.
thank you. I do have so many women coming to me, and I do get frustrated that there are a lot of women out there that men or partners and husbands are holding them back.
Yeah,
And
I
it's a
do
tough
too.
one. I said to a friend the other day, I've got to be really careful what I say here because I might have some husbands on the doorstep. But I want every single woman to live the life that they want to live. And every human has the right for that. And we need to put ourselves forward and go, this is what I want to do and this is what lights me up. And I have been through this with, well, a few girlfriends actually that suddenly went, do you know what? We have beautiful children and we have all of that, but this marriage is done because I have different ambitions and ideas of what I want next. And I think that's okay as
It
well.
is
It's
okay.
okay to want different things. And I'm a big believer, don't stay in a marriage because you think you have to. You still have so much life to live and you
Mhm.
still have to go out and be authentically yourself and do what makes you happy. And if that relationship is not allowing you to do that, that is the biggest handbrake. It's holding you back and no one's going to be happy. Like he's not going to be
No,
happy. You're not going to be happy. Like I don't get staying there if it's not lighting you up.
no, and as someone who's gone through a divorce, I can tell you right now, we worry about all these things, and
Yeah.
now my grown children are like, "How were you and dad ever married?" Like, they see because they're grown. When they're little, they don't understand quite as much, but they grow into adults, and they grow
Yes.
into having their own insights and being able to notice, and we think we're hurting them, but a lot of times staying in an unhealthy relationship not only hurts the children, it hurts you, and it also hurts him. Whether he knows it
Yeah.
or not, you're holding him back from someone who would be a perfect match at this
Yes.
time in this chapter. So I get you. We have literally rocked her in this conversation. Like her chair is rocking. Tell her right now, like, I'd love you just to speak to her, hold her cheeks. She's on the edge of her seat and she's going, Kylie, like, just tell me what's my first step. And I know you said take a baby step, but maybe just like pour some belief, some hope. What is an inspiration you would give her?
I am a big believer in, like you said, take your time out and start writing. Write.
Mm,
Start
right.
journaling because a lot of people, when they're on that edge, they're not sure where they're going, though. And that's what I find the women I speak to. They know they want more, they know there's more for them, but what is the more? Start writing down because your subconscious and what's in your head sometimes gets blocked by everything else going on around you. First thing in the morning, we talk about morning notes. When you wake up and you start writing first thing in the morning, that's when your truth comes out. Your
Mhm.
truth comes out. And then I find the stuff that you'll go back and read the next day and you're like, wow, I didn't know I was thinking that. So I love journaling and I think it's the thing you do first thing in the morning. But if you know what you want, and that is awesome, start putting the steps in place. If it is, I want to go traveling by myself, first of all, where are you going? Book the ticket. If you're worried about the resistance you're going to get, do it silently. Do it
Mhm.
silently and quietly. Don't share your thoughts with others. Don't tell anyone else what you're doing at this point when you're in the planning mode. Because I find once you've locked something in, it's a lot harder to back out of it. So if you've got, I don't want to rock the boat too much here, but if you've got
No,
the
it's
air
good.
ticket booked and then you say to your husband, your partner, your family, whoever, I am off to Thailand for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I'm out of here. Here are the kids. Here's the ticket. I'm gone. It's very hard to stop that momentum. So
Yes.
take the first step and start the momentum. And I really recommend do it quietly because you will get so many different opinions of telling you no. And that is
Mhm.
the big thing I've learned about 50 and Fearless. Every single person in my family would have said with love, what are you doing? Go back and get a proper job. I mean, they still say it now to me, get a proper job. But I did it quietly. So then when I had launched 50 and Fearless, they were like, oh, wow. Wow, wow. It was the train had left. They couldn't
Yeah.
stop it. It was going. If you know what you want, that would be my advice. Start the steps, start moving. If you want to start a business, get the Instagram page, start posting. If you don't want to show your face yet, start making connections through quotes or whatever you want to use, but start building and then come out like I did. Then go, right, this has momentum now. Want to show my face. Or get your website. If you want to sell products, build your website. I think that's the thing. You've just got to take those first steps. And as scary as it is, that very first step is the hardest, absolutely the hardest. And then every other step gets easier and easier and easier, because if it's the right track for you and the right path, energetically, you will just start moving on that path and it will light you up. I think once you find your thing, the universe provides then the doors that need to open for you.
You know what I really learned from you today is personal power. You're teaching women to take back their power. So you're saying you don't need people to tell you that it's the right choice. You decide it's the right choice. Do things quietly because you want to, not because of anything else. Take
Yeah.
the first step. Be audacious. Go for it. Nothing standing in your way, only yourself. Like, I'm really learning through you that the essence of everything you're teaching is bringing back a woman to her power, to her presence, to her expression, and her really declaring once and for all, I'm made for something and I want to see what I've got.
Yeah, you come home to yourself. At this age, I say you are coming home to you. You have to then work out, and that's why I say take some time out for yourself quietly, what you want, not what anyone else wants, not anyone else's opinions. But this is why, yes, you have to take that power back. And that's why I believe quietly and silently in just between you and no one else is so powerful. And I think that's why so many women reach out to me, because they are doing it quietly, but they also just want a little bit of a second
A little,
opinion
yes,
without anyone else knowing.
a safe
I am
cheerleader.
like I'm the quiet bolt for everyone, I think. Yeah.
Oh, you're fabulous. You really, really are. I mean, it should be 50 fearless and fabulous because you are all of those things. I feel like this was such an empowering discussion. I feel like you touched on everything that was necessary for her to come home to herself and be empowered. We have everything linked below in terms of getting in touch with Kylie. There's a membership, there's a podcast, her social media. There's so many beautiful things to connect and to immerse yourself. Anybody listening in who feels activated and you just like, oh, I needed to hear this today, I would say go into that community because they're women doing the very thing that you're dreaming of. And so it's really important that you immerse yourself amongst like-minded women. So thank you for leading this way. Thank you for building this. Thank you for doing it quietly. So now we all can follow someone who's doing such a beautiful job at showing us what's possible.
Thank you. And I would just say as well, trust yourself. That's a big thing that just came through there. I think so many of us don't trust ourselves. Trust yourself, trust your gut instinct and follow it. Follow it,
Yeah.
follow it, follow it. And trust who you are. Every woman, and especially over 50, should be now stepping into this beautiful space. And when they trust themselves and they come home to themselves, beautiful things happen.
That tied that up with a really pretty bow. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Your presence in the magazine, your presence on the podcast. It has been so meaningful for me. And it was really just such an honor to be in your space. Thank you.
I loved being here. So thank you. It was really lovely. Beautiful chat. I really enjoyed that.